Bitcoin is going ballistic, soaring to a new all-time high of 123K. That means Bitcoin is now up 66%. In just 7 days, Bitcoin is up 20K. That's right. It's time to wake up. At least it is for those of you who weren't up all night monitoring the situation. Because Bitcoin going on a straight line higher may signal Bitcoin has entered crisis mode. The bond market is rattling, but make no mistake, Bitcoin is nowhere near a top. And it just became the number 5 asset on the planet. GFY, Bezos, and welcome back. It's Bitcoin all-time high day again. And I think we know what's coming. Don't we? Don't we? Pour one out for the bears. We got bullish news to get to. Send it.
First of all, welcome to the greatest show on Wall Street. I think that Wall Street's full undivided attention now is on Bitcoin. And really, there's 3 things that drove this move. The first is that there's been record inflows into the ETFs. So last Thursday, 1.2 billion, second highest day. Those ETFs now collectively have over 140 billion. BlackRock's fund is now almost $90 billion in about a year. They went from not having a Bitcoin ETF to now they have a top 20 largest ETF in the world. So there's a lot of inflows there. Second thing is the options expired at the end of Q2. And so all that downward pressure on Bitcoin obviously goes away. That helps kind of like a beach ball getting put underneath the water, right? Obviously it can pop back up. And then the third thing is that there was a lot of short sellers, and you started to see that build up. And as they got blown out, as Bitcoin ran, you get into this price discovery phase. And if you go back to November, we went from 70,000 to 90,000 in about 2 to 3 weeks. And 70,000 was a new all-time high. What we're watching now is we broke through that $110,000 range. That was the previous all-time high. I don't know if it goes to 140, but it sure is going to make a big move here because you are in a true price discovery phase.
And how much of this do you think at this point then gets driven by ETFs, or do you think it's really more going to be individuals buying the underlying asset?
Well, the reason why I call it the greatest show on Wall Street is everyone wants Bitcoin. Like, this is no longer a contrarian trade. This is a consensus trade now. And so you have the ETFs, you have the Bitcoin treasury companies, you have retail, you have sovereign wealth fund. Everybody wants Bitcoin.
Well, why don't we start with Uncle Larry and IBIT? Because this chart is absolutely insane. IBIT has reached a record 76 billion in assets under management in under 350 days. By comparison, it took the largest gold ETF over 15 years to reach the same milestone. Probably nothing, and not to be outdone by old Stinky Finky. Michael Saylor and Strategy have done it again, now the first public company to hold over 600,000 Bitcoin. Let's dial in those numbers. After the recent $472.5 million purchase, Strategy now holds 601,550 BTC. Where's Metaplanet 2? Oh, there it is. Now, this has been one of the most rapid rises of any company, aside from Saylor and Strategy. Just look at this. Now the 5th largest Bitcoin treasury company behind Riot. Institutional demand is at historic levels of anything that ever existed. And yet so many are asleep at the wheel. If you guys remember, Saylor gave a presentation to Microsoft on why they should buy Bitcoin. And the board unanimously told Saylor to GFY. Now, not only has Bitcoin flipped Amazon and become the 5th largest asset on the planet while knocking on Bill Gates and Microsoft's door, but the legend, Satoshi Nakamoto is en route to be the first anonymous richest person in the world when Bitcoin hits 370K. And at the current new all-time highs, Satoshi is already ranked number 11. Now, just for fun and to punch Microsoft while they're down, here is the Saylor presentation that Microsoft board members ignored, and now they are going to be paying the price. Roll it.
Microsoft can't afford to miss the next technology wave, and Bitcoin is that wave. Bitcoin represents the greatest digital transformation of the 21st century. It represents digital capital. The global wealth is distributed across assets that provide utility and others that preserve capital. But risk is destroying trillions of dollars of that capital every single year. And investors are turning to digital capital in the form of Bitcoin in order to avoid that risk. Digital capital is economically and technically superior to physical capital, and it represents a revolutionary advance in capital preservation. The asset class itself is growing from trillions to hundreds of trillions of dollars, and it is backed by digital power along with political and economic power. It makes sense for Microsoft to be powered by digital capital. Bitcoin's the best asset you can own. The numbers speak for themselves. It makes a lot more sense to buy Bitcoin than to buy your own stock back or to hold Bitcoin rather than holding bonds. If you're going to outperform, you're going to need Bitcoin. And those bonds are undermining your options market and your equity liquidity. Luckily, you have an alternative. Public support for Bitcoin is surging, as is political support, as is support for the US Bitcoin Strategic Reserve, as is Wall Street support. And the President of the United States says,
never sell your Bitcoin.
That's why we're entering year one of the crypto renaissance. And you have a choice to make. Cling to the past or embrace the future. Divest billions of dollars and slow your growth rate. Invest billions of dollars and accelerate your growth rate. You've surrendered hundreds of billions of dollars of capital over the past 5 years, and you've just amplified the risks that your own shareholders face. If you want to escape that vicious cycle, you're going to need an asset without counterparty risk. What if you could buy a $100 billion company growing faster than Microsoft for 1 times revenue? What if you could keep doing it every single year? It's time for Microsoft to evaluate its Bitcoin strategic options. We've created an open source model. You can plug in your own assumptions. You can convert your cash flows and your dividends and your buybacks and your debt into Bitcoin. If you do that, you'll add hundreds of dollars to the stock price. You can create trillions of dollars of enterprise value. You can strip away risk from your shareholders, and you can prosper on the Bitcoin standard. So do the right thing for the world and adopt Bitcoin.
That's right. Go yourself, Microsoft. And this is the current situation. Bitcoin rising in a straight line. Treasury yields rising in a straight line. US dollar falling in a straight line. Gold prices rising in a straight line. What is the problem? Well, if you take a look at the chart, it looks like US deficit spending is out of control. And if the surge in gold didn't alert you, well, the Bitcoin bat signal should. Just look at this. There's 2 distinct points of divergence. April 9th, after the 90-day tariff pause, and July 1st, as the big beautiful bill was passed. It's very clear why Bitcoin is pumping, and not to mention what's going down at the Fed. We're about to have, well, this type of situation. A fired Fed chair appealing for reinstatement, an acting Fed chair that nobody has ever heard of, and a shadow Fed chair eager to telegraph a very different policy direction. Imagine the policy volatility in that environment. Bitcoin is sniffing something out, and the seeds are being sown, and a massive flood is coming. The big print has already begun, and we're just getting started. Prepare yourselves, because another zero is coming. Dear Microsoft board members, Peter Schiff and that Peter Zeihan, and the rest of you, you know who you are. This is your future without Bitcoin.
Bruce Kowalski. Your monthly universal basic income has been deposited into your account. For more information, press details. You have been paid 2,000 central bank digital tokens. The following fees are being deducted: accommodation fee, food ration fee, recycling fee, clean energy fee, personal greenhouse gas emissions fee, climate change fee, diversity fee. Your current remaining balance is 5 central bank digital tokens, and if not spent, it will expire in 7 days.
Have fun staying poor, Zeihan, you. Bitcoin and self-custody is the only answer to a monthly allowance of Peter Thiel points, and a country apparently run by complete degenerates. Degenerates that stole your future from you. And make no mistake, they want it all, and they want you to own nothing and be happy. Well, we're not going to let that happen. Bitcoin or slavery is not hyperbole.
At some point, and that all the money is going to the worst people. and no one even stops to ask what the hell is going on.
We're about to bring it home and totally scare the crap out of some bears. Hell, it scared the shit out of me. But before we bring it home today, look at our likes.
3 or 4 times, maybe.
I gotta pump those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers in this racket.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give us a pamp while we take a moment to recognize our sponsors powering this show over at the Bitcoin Way. At the Bitcoin Way, they'll walk you through all things Bitcoin like it's kindergarten with Satoshi. From setting up your first wallet to running your first node and so much more, no tech skills are needed. The Bitcoin Way has got you covered. If you want $1 million Bitcoin, you have to act like it. Self-custody is not optional. That is the revolution. Schedule a free 30-minute consultation with the Bitcoin Way using that link in the show notes. And if you are absolutely sick of being surrounded by fiat normies, look no further, my friends. The Orange Pill app has got you covered. The Orange Pill app is the single largest repository of Bitcoin-only events in the world. Connect with over 16,000 other Bitcoiners in real life. Bitcoin is better with friends, and now you can zap them instantly all in one app. What are you waiting for? Download the Orange Pill app today, go ahead and meet up, and start stacking friends who stack sats today. All right, big finish time. And I hope you're all having a good time, because we just freed this dude's grandma from captivity. Good job, guys. Oh, and yeah, we have to get to the bears. Shorts annihilated. And apparently, one of you sick took the old, "it's not about money, it's about sending a message" quote very freaking seriously. How is this not national news? Roll it.
New at 6, this is a story not for the faint of heart, rather. First, we want to warn you some of the details you might find disturbing. We've also blurred some of the graphic images from this as well. What you're looking at here is what San Bernardino County Sheriff's deputies found at the AMPM at Bear Valley and Amethyst Roads in Victorville today. Someone had reported finding an object that appeared to be covered in human remains. It is a teddy bear shaped object. It was left on the ground right outside that convenience store. The coroner's office has picked up that item and is now investigating.
Someone literally Ed gained a teddy bear. I think we can confirm this bull market is different. And fixed supply is a hell of a drug. You know, power law is cool and all, plan B, but I bet you're not gonna find the Ed Gain teddy bear signal anywhere else. Prices must go higher. The Bitcoin CEO has spoken. He also told me to tell you the biggest Bitcoin mining event of the year, Mining Disrupt 2025, is heading to Dallas, Texas, November 11th through the 13th. See the latest innovations, hear from industry leaders, and catch Simply Bitcoin at the news desk. We hope to see you there, and don't forget to use promo code SimplyBitcoin for 20% off. Hey, hope you guys enjoyed this one. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and give us a pamp. Share that sound money gospel, set those notifications, trust the science, and buckle the up because Valhalla awaits. Hey, I love you guys. Catch you next time. Peace.
If you prefer to go down with the ship,